I don't know about y'all, but I am good for assumptions sometimes. Like, making an assumptions and just rolling with that just makes sense than getting the actual truth sometimes. Like, I don't need to know the truth. Happy New Year! Today is January 15th, so technically it's not the new year, but it is my first time posting on here all year, so technically it is the new year. I had to just take some time in the beginning of the year to rest, reset, focus on my relationship with myself and God. And yeah, I got some really good downloads and topics to speak on this year. And so I'm absolutely excited to get started, get back into this habit. So make sure you guys like and subscribe this video because there's going to be a lot more to come. I was doing some self-reflection in the beginning of this year. So as I was studying the Bible during my quiet time, I saw something that highlighted a topic for me that I wanted to share with you guys. And it's the power of self-reflection and the importance of it as you go into 2024. Let's get into it. So I was reading the book of Acts chapter 2, and there was 2 verses that stood out to me that I wanted to use as my examples during this time. Acts chapter 2 verse 12 said, "Amazed and perplexed, they asked one another, 'What does this mean?' But Acts chapter 13 said, 'Some, however, made fun of them and said they had too much wine.'" So let me give y'all a little context. So we're in chapter 2 of Acts. In chapter 1, it talks about when Jesus ascended to heaven. So chapter 2 now is talking about what happens after that and the descent of the Holy Spirit on the disciples. So there was a wind. The way the Bible speaks of it, it was a very loud, strong wind that came up over all the disciples as they were all in one place. And they all just began to speak in tongues, also known as like different languages. They just started speaking in tongues. And so they're in a town, and some Jews overheard like this wind initially, and they're like, "What's going on?" But then they overheard their languages being spoken. So now they're looking at each other like, "Hold on, let's go investigate." So they walked up over there to where the disciples were, and they overheard their specific languages being spoken. And I think it was more than 10 languages that everyone was speaking. So it was like, hold on, how are they doing this? So they're looking at each other like, they speaking your language too. They speaking your language too. Like, what is going on? And so that's where chapter 12 and 13 came in. Amazed and perplexed, they asked one another, "What does this mean?" That was one group of people. Then you have another group of people who's like, "Some, however, made fun of them and said they had too much wine." So here we are. We got a group of people asking questions and a group of people making assumptions. And I don't know about y'all, but I am good for assumptions sometimes. Like, making an assumptions and just rolling with that just makes sense than getting the actual truth sometimes. Like, I don't need to know the truth. It's about to hurt my feelings. I don't want to know it. So sometimes I will grab the assumption and run. Like, I don't even want to know. And I know y'all be doing that too. So this is where the topic of self-reflection comes in for you and I in 2024. One of the questions that I was asking myself as I was reflecting was, did I ask more questions in 2023 or did I make more assumptions? Like, which one was it? And one of the quotes too that I learned last year was, "To know is to know that you know nothing." We miss out on the ability to learn things faster when we think we know everything. When we think we know everything, it really sets us back. Like, we have to enter situations with an open mind to learn, because there's always something you do not know. And more information sometimes can be extremely helpful. With certain things, I don't like too much information. Like, the other day in the beginning of the year, I was buying a water bottle from Marshall's. And I found a water bottle. I was like, okay, this is good. I'll use this. I went to another section of the store. I saw another water bottle. I said, hold on. I think I like this one better. And y'all, I looked at the back of the shelf. I'm good walking away now. I looked at the back of the shelf. I saw a different one. I was like, okay, Onika, we gotta go. We don't need to see any more water bottles. We choosing on this one water bottle and we finna roll with it. And so sometimes I think when you have too much options or too much information, it could be very difficult to land somewhere. But you have to know how much information you're able to take in, or how much more do you need to help you with clarity. And so as you're going through the year, you're going to need to ask more questions than make assumptions. And sometimes we can get caught up in just making assumptions, like with the circumstances that happen in our lives, with the things that people say, with the way they react to us. Like, we just make an assumption and be like, yeah, you being weird. But we don't know the back end of what could be happening. So this year, we got to lean into this space of asking more questions in our personal, but also external lives, or in our relationships. There's two people seeing the same thing. Two people seeing the same things. One's asking a question, a group's asking a question, and another group is making assumptions. Which one do you think is more beneficial? Asking a question, right? So they're in the midst of a very important promise that God had given to one of his prophets, Joel, and they're receiving the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit is talked about as a gift in this chapter of the Bible. And so the people that are making the assumption is missing out on a crucial moment that's happening right now. So Peter's like, hold on. First of all, it's 9 a.m. in the morning. Ain't nobody drunk. What you talking about? Like, Peter's like confused. Like, who these people talking about they drunk? So not only do we offend other people when we make assumptions, but we make ourselves look stupid sometimes. Like, some of the assumptions we make, it don't make no sense. And so Peter's like, first of all, ain't nobody drunk. Like, y'all need to go check yourselves. Yeah, so Peter's like, I'm not drunk. And then he proceeded to speak about what God had given the prophet Joel way back, that this right now that's happening is supposed to happen. And so in the year 2024, self-reflection is going to be key to improving your self-worth, your self-awareness, and your self-discipline. If you don't know about the areas where you're weaker in, or the areas where you need to improve, or some of the obstacles that keeping you back, the trauma, the hurt, like, a lot of that comes from self-reflection. Self-reflection helped me with my self-awareness, to know when something's triggering me, or why am I upset? Like, helps me question my emotions. Why am I scared to do this? And so asking yourself the right questions is going to be helpful. But most importantly, you need to be able to identify where you are. If you're trying to become a person who has very good emotional wellness, or relational intelligence, you need to know, where am I right now? How difficult is it going to be for me to get here? What caused me to stay or to be where I am today? So allowing yourself to feel the emotions that you feel when you ask the questions without any judgment on yourself. You know, one of the things that I've been seeing a lot of people doing is like saying, oh, you're so stupid. Like, or like they're saying, I'm so stupid, to themselves. Like, we got to be careful of the words, the language that we use when we talk about ourselves. So allowing yourself to do that without any judgment, but also remaining curious throughout the year, not just with ourselves, but with our relationships, with people that we meet, with different interactions that we have. Asking questions instead of making assumptions on what it is. This will help us as we go through conflicts and roadblocks and different changes and challenges. You won't always have a straight answer when you ask someone a question. You won't always get a straight answer. But the more questions you ask, the more information that you have to give you clarity on how to respond, how to react, and what you need to do to help you move forward. So how do you self-reflect? Well, number one is journaling. That's a great way to just write out your thoughts, get it all on a piece of paper, let it all out, how you feel. Nobody's ever going to read it. Allow yourself to do this judgment-free. Some people might be like, Onika, I don't like writing. I've met people who's like, I like to talk to myself. Like, I like to talk it through with myself. So for you, self-reflection might be talking to yourself, just saying things out loud and listening to it and processing it. For some people, it might just be asking yourself the right questions out loud. So just asking yourself and then talking yourself through it. Or it could be meditating. And meditating looks different. Meditating for me sometimes is just laying in the dark with my eyes open and just thinking, or my eyes closed and just like visioning certain situations, replaying what I could have done better. So meditating is also a good way. A really important one is therapy. Therapy is very important when it comes to self-reflection. And because that's where I started, I think that's what had helped me to get to the point where I am today. So as you go into 2024, self-reflection is going to be key for you. It could be the thing that allows you to propel in the area that you've been stuck in. Knowing where you are and what you need to do to get you to who you want to become. Thank you for watching today's video. Like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you in the next video. I'm your coach Onika. See you next time. Bye.